This is lesson 2 on partial fractions. So in this video, we're going to look at type 2, where the denominator contains a repeated linear factor. So as you can see, in this denominator, there is a squared factor. So that's repeated. So it's the same, but slightly different. Start off as we did before by writing down our fraction. Okay, and this is where the slight difference comes in. We've got an a over x plus 1, that's just a normal one. But then for the repeated one, we're going to have a b over x minus 1 plus a c over x minus 1 squared. And you're probably wondering why. So if I just come down here for a minute, just go off a tangent slightly. If I just said that was x minus 1, and had two constants over x minus 1, then if you add them two together, the denominator is just x minus 1. So that x squared doesn't appear. If they were both square, or if they were both square, then I would get a square denominator. Okay, but so would I if it was just that. Because this is a factor of x minus 1 squared, then if you were to add these two together, the lowest common denominator will be x minus 1 squared. So adding these two together, because this is a factor of that, means that your lowest common denominator will be x minus 1 squared. So when I'm setting up my partial fractions here, I have to have 1 over x minus 1, because that is a factor of that. And we also need an x minus 1 squared, because that is a factor of it as well. Okay, so you just have to be careful with that. You need basically 1 for each possible factor. Okay, after that, it's the same. So we're going to equate our numerators. So to get from here to here, we need to multiply by x minus 1 squared. To get from here to here, we need to multiply by x plus 1, x minus 1. And to get from here to here, we need to multiply by x plus 1. Okay, now notice I did that carefully. I didn't just times that by the other two and that by the other two. Okay, if you do that, you'll end up with too many brackets here. Okay, now I'm going to substitute some numbers in. So I substitute x equals 1 in, that's going to eliminate the a, and that's going to eliminate the b. So 1 squared is 1, minus 2 minus is minus 1, minus 1 is minus 2, times 2 is minus 4. A is gone, b is gone, so I'm left with 1 plus 1, which is 2c, which means c is minus 2. Now I'm going to substitute in minus 1, so that's positive 1, minus 2 is 3, take 1 is 2, times 2 is 4. If I substitute minus 1 in, that's gone, and that's gone. So I'm left with minus 1, take 1 is minus 2, squared is positive 4a, which means a is 1. Okay, now at this point, I've run out of numbers that I can substitute in to eliminate. So one option, as I've already showed you, is to equate a coefficient. Now I'm going to equate x squared, the x squared terms, mainly because there isn't one here. So that cuts down the amount of work. So on the left-hand side, if you expand this out, you will get 2x squared. So the coefficient of x squared is 2. Here, if you expand this out, you'll get a 1x squared term. So you've got 1a lots of x squared. And then here, if you expand this out, you'll get a 1x squared. So you've got to have a 1bx squared. We already know a is 1, which means b is 1. Okay. Now, some students don't like this. If you are one of those that don't like this, once you've run out of numbers, you could, if you wanted to, just substitute any other number. And usually students substitute 0 in. If you substitute 0 in, you'll get 0 minus 0 minus 1 times 2 is minus 2. Then you'll get, that'll be minus 1. So minus 1 squared is 1a. That'll be 1 times minus 1. So that's minus b. And then that'll be 1c. So if you substitute any other number in, you're going to get something with a, b, and c in. But we know what a and c are already. So that'll be 1 minus b minus 2 plus the 2. 0 equals 1 minus b. Therefore, b equals 1. Okay, which is what I got there. All right, so if you really don't understand this, then you can substitute another number in. Okay, you can see that we've got the same answer. So final answer, 1 over x plus 1 over x minus 1 minus 2 over x minus 1 squared. And that's now our answer split into partial fractions. Okay, next one, we have a cubic. So when we set our partial fractions up, we're going to have an a over x plus 3, because this is a factor of that, plus b over x plus 3 squared, because that is a factor of that. Sorry, it is supposed to be 2. My hand wanted to do 2, but my mouth said 3. And then we need a c over x plus 2 cubed, because that is a factor of that. So each of these denominators is a factor of that lowest common denominator there. Now we're going to equate the numerators. So to get from here to here, I need to multiply by x plus 2 squared. To get from here to here, I need to multiply by another x plus 2. And to get from here to here, well, I'm already there, so I just need to multiply by 1. Okay, so there's not a great deal on this side here. I'm going to substitute what I can in, x minus 2. So that's going to be positive 4, take 6 is minus 2, plus 4 is 2. This is going to be 0, this is going to be 0, so we're left with c. Okay, now after that, I'm going to equate. So if I equate the x squared terms, so the x squared coefficient here is 1. The x squared coefficient here, well, if you expand that out, you get 1x squared times by a. And there isn't one here, and there isn't one here, so that's it. Then if I equate the x's, the coefficient of x here is 3. If I expand this out, I will get x squared plus 4x, so the coefficient of x is 4 times a. And then the coefficient of x here is b. But I know a is 1, which means b must be minus 1. Okay. Again, if you don't like this, you could substitute in 0. That'll give you something with A, B and C in, but you know what C is. You can substitute in 1, so a couple of low numbers. That'll give you something with A, B and C in, but you know what C is. And then you'll get simultaneous equations. So it's actually slightly more work, but if you don't understand this, then that's what you're going to have to do. Final answer, 1 over x plus 2 minus 1 over x plus 2 squared minus, or plus, sorry, 2 over x plus 2 cubed. And that's our final answer. Okay, so I would like you to pause the video and have a little go at this one, and then I'll show you the answer. Okay, here's my solution. So you can see I've substituted 3 in and a half. That gave me 8 minus 1 and 1 for my A and C, and then I've equated the x squareds to give me my final answer. Okay, and then one more. So again, pause the video and have a go at this one. There's my solution. So I've got a over x, b over x squared. The x squared is the repeated factor there. Okay, this one we've got 2 fractional answers. So remember, if you've got a fractional answer, the denominator of the fraction goes on the bottom. So instead of writing minus 1/3 over x, I've written it as minus 1 over 3x and so on. Okay, so you should now be ready to have a go at exercise 1E. In the next video, we'll look at type 3.